Hello, gamers. Welcome back to another
Yeah,
episode of the Cuddlepunk podcast. I am your host, the mastermind, Veronika Vexed. With me today, you know her from her incredible music. You know her as the host of Emotional Labor on YouTube. You know her from showing up with all of your favorite hyperpop artists. Ishaani Ponniah, aka htmljones, is here. Ishaani, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm chilling. I did like a step set earlier today with no preparation, so
You did
I'm
what
kind of
with no
just still riding that
preparation?
high. I didn't do any preparation. I just did crowd work. I just talked to people,
I love that. I
and
love.
nothing's scarier to me than that. So it's like facing my fears. I'm gonna go walking on nails tomorrow and
What
skydiving the day after.
What's it? It's got to be annoying doing like stand up and having crowd work be the most like popular thing that's happening right now because you have to go in completely improvising everything.
Yeah, but it's also the most hostile form of stand-up, so I understand why people don't like it because it is literally just bullying.
Yes, you're just bullying the people who have conceivably paid to come and see you.
Yeah, that's kind of the sick pleasure of it, really.
I feel like that, honestly, knowing your show, I don't think that energy is that it's not a distant energy to you. I feel like that energy comes up quite a bit.
I'm familiar, yeah. You said when you DM me that, well, actually, no, I think just on the tweet, you were like, our shows are polar opposites. And I think that's really funny. We're like the angel and devil of the T-girl interviewer
We're the yin
community.
and yang of T girl mooches.
Yeah, that's right. That's so true.
That's so true.
T-girl numbers.
Girl Nardwar's fuck yes. I want to talk about the start of your musical journey because I think from what I saw on Spotify, all of the songs that you've released have been either from 2020 or
That's right.
2023 or this year. When did you get started on making all of this stuff? And did you come from it seems like you came from like that initial like right after 2019, like that first like pandemic boom of hyperpop that was happening.
Yeah, that's right. So I've been in a band for a very long time. So I've been making music since I was a teenager, and I've kind of been tapped into a lot of like these online scenes with like Jedwall, I've known for ages, like a lovely guy. Just like stuff like that. People who I've met on music Twitter, basically, since I was like probably 19 or 20, and many, many years later now. It's
How old
nice.
are you?
I'm so old. Guess
26.
28. Thank you. Thank you for
28.
saying younger. Yeah, I'm
Of
28.
course. I'm 20. I
I'm
will be 20.
aging.
You seem like you're about my age, and I turned 26 in like a month and a half.
Oh, is it? Oh, you're a baby. You're 25.
It's really weird being 25, turning 26 now, because once you've been in the scene for a while and you start seeing these like literal teenagers that are coming up,
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, like, we would all lie about. Like, honestly, girl, if you want to lie about your age, I completely get it. I personally do not do that, but I completely understand why you would want to do that in the pop landscape.
I am a trans woman who is into pop punk. I would very much appreciate it if people did not lie about their ages.
Yeah, there's terrible historical precedent for that, actually. I mean,
Yeah,
only if you're like a public persona, you're happily married, and you're not interacting with fans.
it would be best if that in that case, yes, you can lie about
Don't just
however
lie
old
about
you
your
are.
age. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think like all women after a certain age will start subtracting in a few years. It's when you start doing it in like the 18 to 30 bracket, it gets a bit hairy.
It does. I can understand that. When you are asking questions for emotional labor, how often are you terrified that you've gone too far with the question, not for the audience, but for the person that you're interviewing?
Never.
Never?
Yeah, I feel like because I feel like I've gauged the boundaries of the person throughout the interview with the questions. I kind of am picking up on what's making them uncomfortable or what's going to be something. I don't think I would ever say anything which is going to make someone storm out. And unless I'm interviewing someone who I really don't respect,
Right.
and in which case I kind of don't care. So I think I don't really care. The answer is I don't think about it. There's nothing going on in my head. I'm just a conduit
Just word
for
salad.
negativity.
Just word salad coming out for all of the questions. Because when you're asking questions, are you like writing them down beforehand? It seems so like free flowing as to when you're talking to these artists.
I try and keep it a mystery, so some are written and some are completely off the dome.
Emotional labor has been going on about 1 to 2 years now. What was the idea of starting the show? Did it come from wanting to promote your music, especially, or wanting to promote other people's music, or just wanting to like make friends in the scene?
I think specifically the idea of an interview show was because I used to watch a lot of Z-Way and I just wanted to copy her idea.
Z-Way.
Yeah. And then she got cancelled. So now it's just me. I've outlived her,
It's just
stolen all her work.
you can take that crown. You can take that, placing that on your head right now.
Okay, I think only she could do that,
That is
sadly.
fair. You know what? You're
I
right.
need to get around.
I'm making myself problematic already.
Taking away jobs from black women, that's crazy.
That's crazy, dog. Are there any takes on emotional labor? Obviously, there are like things that are like more serious that come up on emotional labor where I understand that the takes are real. Are there any more like wild takes that don't have like a ton of like particular vitriol behind them that you actually stand by more than others?
No, I don't know. I think I just believe everything I say. Everything I say is with 100% conviction because I
Is
can't function otherwise because I have lead poisoning.
what's the deal with white bisexuals?
Oh, what's the deal with them? I don't know. They're fucking everywhere. They're in my house. They're in my walls. They're in my toilet.
It
Keep white
seems
bisexuals out of women's bathrooms.
keep white bisexuals out of women's bathrooms. Absolutely. What is it about that question that made you you've repeated that question so many times at the show at this point? What is it about that question in particular that makes you want to repeat it for the bit over and over again?
I think it's a good gauge of someone's identity politics, regardless of where they are. So I think even if someone's like very heterosexual and they have to respond to that question, they're gonna still say something interesting. Whereas I think if you are someone who actually does know what's going on with white bisexuals, then you will actually get an insightful answer. So it's win-win. It's all for the bit. It's all comedic.
The episodes range from like 5 minutes to 20 minutes at a time. How long are the interviews generally as you're recording them, and how much of it are you just cutting down to like these little like bite-size Zoomer core like little instances of magic?
So it varies quite a bit. So I've done ones which have been like literally 5 minute interviews and I've used all of it. But then a lot of them I record for, let's say 30, 40 minutes. Maybe, well, actually maybe 15 to 30 minutes, let's say. And then I will edit that down till it's about 50% of what the original runtime is. I would say that usually that's what I end up cutting. So not like a huge amount. A lot of that is just dead air, honestly. People, myself included, I'm doing it right now, make so many hesitations and pauses and fuck ups in speech. Like hesitations and pauses are the same thing. Like there was no need for me to say that in a sentence. Like if I was editing this, I would take all of this out because I've like none of this is adding anything.
All of this is staying in.
And because I've
Not
got
a
like the
single
big
bit of this
brain.
is getting cut out.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. I
Of
have a
course.
very like utilitarian approach, I think. So I'm very much like half of it has to go because I need to be constantly stimulated. This is why I have the running commentary of images on the screen. Otherwise, I'll get bored.
The meme images are so good. I think like that is like putting that like the equivalent of this like Subway Surfers while you're watching the Family Guy clip into your interviews. I think that is one of the things that has struck me the most about the show. Like that's it keeps you engaged the entire time.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for unashamedly leaning in to the total of erosion of our attention spans and our ability to concentrate online.
Do you
I'm just
think
taking advantage of it. I'm trying to worsen it,
you're
accelerate
trying to
it.
make things you are I that is the vibe that you are giving on your show is that you are trying to make things just a little bit worse.
Yeah, yeah. I want to make things worse because I'm evil, ontologically speaking.
When you're asking the most out of pocket questions possible in order to make sure that
Mhm.
the T girls are like shocked and they can make like the cutie faces that are good for the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love to objectify trans women.
It's
That's really all I
it's
do.
really fun. It's very fun.
In like a chaser way, you know,
I've never related
explicit
harder
way.
to I've never related harder to anything in my life. I've never related harder. That is extremely fucking good. Why aren't there more tops in hyperpop?
Who says they're on?
The people making the music.
I don't know if that's necessary. Okay, I think, all right, it may be fashionable and marketable in today's economy to be a bottom, right? But I think, especially in rap music, there's a lot of top energy. There's a
Oh, for
lot of top
sure.
energy in the hip hop scene. I think we hold our own.
That's why I rap because I'm like, I'm not trying to make, there's no Pillow Princess energy is allowed to be displayed on my music.
Oh no, see, I rap exclusively about Pillow Princess energy. So I have the braggadocious, the manner, but I'm just talking about holding hands with my GF.
You have an EP coming out in December. This is the first full project that you're putting out
That's
under
right.
htmljones. What is the feeling behind putting out what are the feelings about putting up out the first like full project, the first full thing that gives people a real idea of who you are as an artist?
It's great. I just feel like it's overdue. I've wanted to do it for years and years. But various things, including transitioning and, real life, just got in the way. I've had a very checkered life. I'm so tortured. I've
So
had so many
tortured
experiences
artists,
out in the world. So tortured. Yeah, literally, tortured poets. I'm a tortured poet, personally.
we are the tortured
And
poet society.
yeah, 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 us too, we comprise the society. But yeah, so I'm just feel like now I'm kind of like, I am who I am. Like I've been doing music this whole time, just kind of working on my skills. But like now I'm like making a mission statement about myself. I'm doing a very self-centered, egoistic project where it's a 5-track EP, and each of the tracks is about a different stage of my life, and it's all very pop, and it's all very self-indulgent. But I'm really proud of it, and I've like produced and mixed it like all myself. So I'd be like happy to be like, I'm gonna put this out there. And it's like a self-titled EP. It's just the htmljones EP. It's just an EP that people can associate with me and can play when they go play my music. So I'm just like, it's like a first step into music. And then after that, I just need to get an album done before I'm 30. Or I'm going to commit, I'm not going to finish that sentence, but I'm going to do terrible things to myself if I don't finish an album by the time
If
I'm
you are a
30, but it
if
will
you are a
happen.
trans woman, you can't start transitioning after 30. You cannot start making music after 30. These are the rules and regulations.
Yeah, that's the rule. That's the rule. Put down the hyperpop. It's type of jazz. That's how I feel like after 30.
Hyperpop is listen, everybody is getting older in this scene. We are going to have hyperpop elders soon.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like I am a hyperpop elder already, to be honest with you. Like I've just been hibernating.
I could not be more excited for the EP to finally drop because the singles you put out are great. Like there's so much different, of course, there's so much stuff going on in all of your different singles where it's like you working with other people and rapping in different languages. And like, I feel like the four singles that you've put out so far have given people a good idea of what kind of artist you are and what kind of artist you're going to be going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I've established like my voice, my personal sound within the tracks that I've already released. So there's elements of D&B, of South Asian music, of jungle, of grime, of drill, of a lot of just pop, a lot of just like mainstream hyperpop as well. Lots of different influences, lots of Jersey. So I feel like all of this is kind of across almost every track on the EP has a bit of those elements. Like each one of them has me rapping in different languages, for example. Um, and I'm just kind of trying to do my own little aesthetic, little eclectic collection of a cohesive-ish sound. And I hope people enjoy it when it comes out in December.
It's going to be fantastic. You have also the show is in November, correct?
That's right. Yeah, I'm doing an EP release
The
party
EP
in
release
London.
party before the album comes out. Very, very Charlie, very Brat of you, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Secret listening party, November 25th, All Blue Lust. Come down if you're in London. I don't know, this will be out by then, but yeah,
Who do you
come
think has
through.
been worse for Brat's legacy, Kamala Harris or Anthony Fantano?
Oh, Kamala Harris. Oh my
Yes,
God. Like Anthony
obviously.
Fantano hasn't done any war crimes. He hasn't put any trans women in men's prisons. Or has he?
You
Actually,
know,
let's check. I'm gonna Google that real quick.
let's
No
find
receipts
out
on
if
that.
Fantano has done anything in that realm. Have I talked to anybody? Yeah, Belushi Speedball. They haven't interviewed. He hasn't interviewed them yet. So I I have no way of knowing this. Fantano's so weird because he's just an Italian
Yeah.
dude from Connecticut, but he gets people so fucking angry.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's like the harmless chaser. He has
Yes.
heavy chaser energy.
God, he really does have really heavy chaser energy.
He's like that one guy called Greg.
Everybody knows a
Yeah.
Greg, the token cis straight dude
Yeah.
that hangs out with the dolls. That's been claimed cool by the dolls.
Yeah. He's a chaser. Yeah. Not to normalize chasers. I feel like I'm doing a lot normalizing of chasers in this interview.
That was the
Transform to be
idea.
love
That was the idea for you to normalize
in,
something
in
that is
a normal
sorry.
way.
I'm sorry that somebody's throwing your own game back at you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like I out of everything, cancelable or problematic that I could say, I just really don't want to endorse chasers. I just don't want to like give the guys an idea, the wrong idea. That you found my weak point.
Chaser, stay away from the HTML Jones show.
I don't want to break their hearts because I care so deeply for them. Subscribe to htmljones.
Subscribe to HTML Jones. Emotional Labor is the place where you can get all of the hot takes. There have been many places where you can get hot takes from different artists. When we come back, we'll be paying tribute to one of those places. We'll be right back with more of the Cuddlepunk podcast.
Hey gamers, as usual, today's episode is brought to you by the patrons on the Cuddlepunk Podcast Patreon. If you want to help support the show for either $3 or $5 a month, you can head on over to patreon.com/the Cuddlepunk Podcast. $3 a month will get you early access to every episode of the Cuddlepunk Podcast. And for $5 a month, you get early access to the episodes, as well as your name featured in every episode of the Cuddlepunk Podcast. Thank you so much to Noel Rosen, Michael Gallucci, Andy Brummel, Julia Broman, Jack, Susan, and Gail Mack. If I mispronounced your name, please let me know and I will change it for the next episode. That's patreon.com/the Cuddlepunk Podcast. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the episode.
Welcome back to the Cuddlepunk podcast. I am here with HTML Jones, one of my favorite YouTube series of all time, one of my favorite hot take factories of all time, other than, of course, Emotional Labor, is the Pitchfork series Over Under, where you give artists things to rate as either overrated or underrated. I have prepared 10 things that Ishaani will be giving either an overrating or an underrating in an attempt to lovingly pay tribute, aka steal Pitchfork's content, because what the fuck are they going to do with it? Ishaani, are you ready for this?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's get the hot takes flowing, starting off with 10,000 Gex.
Underrated.
I agree. I think that album is just as good. Honestly, I think it might be better than 1,000 Gex. I feel like that's really controversial to say.
I feel like actually I don't know. I really like them both. I'd say the reason why I think it's underrated is because it didn't propel them to as much success as I feel like it merited. And they didn't release music for a little bit after. So for that reason, I'm like, it was a hit, and people weren't as nice to it when it came out as perhaps it deserved.
I think that
That's a very mild take.
we'll get into
You
the
know.
we'll get into the rougher ones for sure. Posthumous releases.
Yeah, 100% overrated.
I agree.
Because people always just want more.
When are we going to? I remember when it like first started off with like XXXTentacion's like posthumous albums being released, and at a certain point,
Mhm.
you're just taking like fragments and putting other rappers onto like hooks that didn't even exist. The Big Fat Quiz of the Year, overrated or underrated?
Overrated. I could do that.
HTML Jones Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it much better and different.
I think you should. I think you should get
Yeah,
a bunch of dolls on here at the end of this year, at the beginning of next
yeah.
year, just to do like a big hyperpop fucking Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
That'd be really nice. That'd be nice. I feel like yeah, if I get like a bunch of dolls in one place, I should probably organize like a hormone drive or something. I feel like I should do something a bit more useful. But yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Transfem Social, if anyone's in London, come on
Transform
down.
Social.
Yeah, there's an Instagram.
Next up, Dev Patel.
Underrated, just because people are racist to him. Like obviously everyone's thirsting over him now. But Monkey Man is like a 5 out of 5 film.
Absolutely.
It's like one of my favorite films of all time. It has not gotten the love it deserves. People are sleeping on Dev Patel. They slept on him when he was a little kid, and they're sleeping on him now. So yeah, I rap my boy.
One person that has not been sleeping on Dev Patel is my dad. My dad has been man crushing on Dev Patel since Best Exotic Marigold Hotel came out, like in 2011.
Okay, yeah, he's been locked in.
He's been
Oh,
locked in.
young Dev.
Young baby Dev, little boy Dev, Junji Ito.
Junji Ito. Oh, overrated, unfortunately. I do like his work, but the and I think like his visuals are good, but I think honestly the extent to which his visuals and aesthetics and the way to which his work is mined for content by anime production companies, like because none of the productions of his anime are good, which is a shame because I feel like he does have a very interesting art style.
Have you seen
Tied
the
with him and
new
the
Uzumaki show?
yeah, so yeah, like I watched the first episode, I was like, this is pretty good. Then the second one came around, I was like, no, this is trash. This is so bad. Yeah,
That is what I've been hearing from
yeah.
people is that like after the first episode it just goes down completely.
Yeah, it's like watching a slideshow. It's really bad.
Oh
But
God.
it's a crunch. I mean, a crunch. It's one of those things. But yeah, yeah, he's overrated. Sorry, Tommy is cute, but it is what it is.
That's fair. Parents at shows.
Parents that show. So this is such a weird one for me because I fundamentally cannot relate to it as a concept. I feel like that's quite a common transgender thing, but also maybe just like a Catholic or a South Asian thing. So. I'm not qualified to talk about it. I'm gonna say it's overrated and that you don't need it and that I am fine.
Don't bring your parents to a thing where you might be doing ketamine.
Don't bring your parents to somewhere where you might be doing ketamine and also I might be there because if I see that you have a good relationship with your parents, it might make me sad and that will
We
ruin the buzz.
we cannot make Ishaani sad. Make you angry, yes. Make you sad, I would have stopped the show immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Chip
The right.
shops.
Underrated. Underrated. They're a cultural institution. Chicken and chip shops in London, the greatest in the world. Shout out Movies owned by Frank Tamil guy. Yeah, they're underrated. They're rated, by people here, but not anywhere else. So I
I
think
feel
they're underrated.
I feel like being in Chicago, we have like one of the few like cultural like parallels for chip shops with just how many fucking hot dog stands are here.
Yeah, that's it. No, like you guys' food culture is good. Like the street vendors in like New York and shit, like the Philly cheesesteak, the chili dog. Oh my God. Like I love that sort of food. So yeah, America's got that for sure.
We're working on it. We're working on it. Central Park.
I went there like 3 months ago and it was okay. I'm gonna say it's overrated because there were lots of cops and there was so much fucking horse shit. Like there was from the cop horses, right? There was just dung, like dinosaur dung from like Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum takes off a shirt next to it and he's like, whoa, crazy shit. Like there was that much shit. It was awful. But the squirrels were cute. They're just very aggressive. That was kind of like the highlight. The highlight was I saw a guy dancing for money, and that cheered me up. But everything else about Central Park was bad.
I It feels like cops on horses should be a thing in the UK, but I can imagine that it's not.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. In fact, I feel like we have more of them, weirdly, because it's a thing in rural areas and also just a general intimidation riot police thing here. So you see them everywhere in London.
Anytime I see a cop on a horse, I just think, what are you compensating for?
They're commenting for their tiny penises
Well, obviously, but where does that? I want to know why this cop in particular feels as though he has a small penis.
because they all do. They're like corkscrews, like the ends of their tails.
A New York City police officer on a horse pissed on my wife. He took his fucking hedgehog quilly dick out and pissed on my wife and said it was this big. If I've referenced a meme that you don't know about, that's the highlight of my year.
No, no, I get a reference. Yeah, I'm just like searching through I'm in my mind palace of memes.
Of course. Um, and it's gone again. It's gone again.
Oh no, sorry, the sound cut out again. I'm not sure if it's the microphone on your
The I think it might be. I think it might just be the internet connection that we've got going on here. I guess I'll
Oh
check.
word.
I'll check the. I mean, I guess I'll see when I edit this. Clocking
Okay, the concept of getting clocked. I mean,
or
it's
participating
hard
in
to
it.
say overrated because it's one of the things which can determine our safety and like whether or not we're going to get murdered in a split second. So I feel like in that respect, determine whether or not someone like me, someone like us will get murdered in a split second, I would say in our society, I guess it's overrated. It's overrated the value that we place on it, the power that's attached to it. Because when you clock someone and when you're like making someone aware of that, you have to be cognizant that you're also making them open to all of these other things. And I think that's something which is very cheery. So I would say that it's overrated in society and underrated in how we talk about these things.
I think that's very fair. Finally,
It's an unhelpful answer.
it we're not looking for helpful answers. This whole bit is so I can troll the algorithm. Finally, the Google Plus song.
Oh, underrated. We need to rate that more highly.
I think that is a premium bit of early 2010s, specifically British YouTube culture. And I think that we would be remiss to ignore it.
Project it onto the side of the House of Parliament.
Absolutely. Ishaani, htmljones, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for being on this episode of the podcast. Where can we find you?
I'm at htmljones on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Sorry, the dead name is x.com.
We're allowed to dead name X. We're allowed to dead name Twitter.
Are we?
I think so. I think we're allowed to yes, we are allowed to dead name Twitter to attack Elon for dead naming his fucking kids.
I would never dead name someone because they were horrible or rude to me because I'm taking the moral high ground here.
Clearly.
Yeah, so I would respect Twitter's evil, whatever they want to do. I respect it.
HTML Jones says respect Elon Musk. You can find all of her stuff in the description of this video. You can find all of my stuff in the description of this video. Wyatt wants to say hello.
Oh my God, hi Wyatt.
He's a
Oh
little,
my God, he's so cute.
he's a
He's so
groovy little
cute.
guy. He's a groovy
He's a
little
little
guy.
baby. Oh, yeah.
Good boy.
What an angel.
If you like the video, please hit like, please comment if you thought any of these things were overrated or underrated. Please go and subscribe to the HTML Jones YouTube channel so you can be as in love with emotional labor, the show, as I am. If you really want to help out this show, you can go over to the Cuddlepunk Podcast Patreon. You can find links down in the description. Bunch of cool stuff for either $3 or $5 a month. The logo for the Cuddlepunk Podcast is done by Lauren Young. You can find her links in the description. The theme song for the Cuddlepunk Podcast is Lose a Turn by Modify. You can find links to all of her stuff in the description. Ishaani, HTML Jones, thank you so much for being on this episode of the Cuddlepunk Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Emotional Labor.